Take them one at a time here, all right? Let's talk about whether people here in Torrington want to give another $100,000 tax break to people making $1 million in this world. So they want to make sure that they have teachers in their classrooms or cops on the beat, right? We know where people here stand on that issue. Let's go out and ask them whether or not they want to see our energy dollars go to petro-dictators abroad who are frankly fueling and funneling money to the insurgents that are threatening to attack this country, or whether they want those dollars to go to Apollo Solar right here in town, or fuel cell energy up the street. We know where they stand on that issue. And let's ask people in Torrington whether they want a vision of healthcare where you get it only if you have the privilege of wealth and affluence, rather than as part of a right of citizenship in the most powerful and most affluent country in the world. We know where they stand on that issue. And so, as angry as people are about where the economy is today, this is not a referendum on the state of today's economy. This is a choice about whether we want to continue moving forward and growing this economy, or whether we want to move backwards to the exact same policies that got us into this mess in the first place. That's the choice we're going to go out and talk to people about when you're knocking on doors. Let me tell you this. 4 years ago, when the focus of the entire world seemed to be on the 5th Congressional District, when we had folks visiting us from Massachusetts and Pennsylvania, we had people on the streets from all regions of this country, it seemed. In the final week of that election, final weekend of that election, we knocked on 17,000 doors. Now that blew my mind, that we knocked on 17,000 doors in the Saturday and Sunday of the last weekend before the 2006 election. We are on target today, Saturday, to knock on 17,000 doors. We're going to knock on another 15,000 to 17,000 tomorrow. And by the time this weekend is over, we are going to have knocked on 30,000 doors in this district. Commercials, the mailers, the robocalls, listen, that's all white noise to people at this point, right? What matters is them seeing a neighbor, a friend, a volunteer showing up at their house and making the case. And so let me join our great team here. We have a fantastic team of staff who have been just working their hearts out on the ground, and they need you to go out right now and go through your list, to come back tomorrow, to give us as much of your Tuesday as you can, and to remember why we're doing this in the first place. I'll leave you with this. About a year ago, I was just knocking doors here in Torrington, and I visited a guy not far from where we stand today. And he was one of these guys that Kevin talked about. He's not political. He doesn't really pay much attention to this stuff. But, you know, it was the first time he really ever had somebody in politics standing on his door. And so he wanted to tell me a story. He told me about the fact that he had gotten very badly injured. He had gotten very badly injured, and as a result of his injury, he had had to leave his job. And when he left his job, of course, he lost his health care insurance. But the bills started to mount up, and in a really bad economy, his wife couldn't go out and find another job that had health care insurance attached to it. And they finally got to the breaking point where they had to make a decision. As to whether they were going to stop making payments on their house that their kids grew up in, that they grew up in, that they loved, right around the corner from here, or whether they were going to go to the one savings that they had, which was their son's college savings account. And they sat down as a family and they made the decision, and their son supported it, that they didn't want to lose their house, that he would just forego college for a little while, that he'd go get a job and hopefully make enough money to go to college or university someday, and that they'd pay their medical bills without money. We're going to go out and knock doors today for that family. We're going to go out there and work harder than we've ever worked to make sure that we have an answer for that guy. Because that doesn't make sense in this nation for anybody to face that choice. It doesn't make sense for that family, but it doesn't make sense for our economy that we would push that kid's education out another 5 or 10 years. That we would make that family go through the misery that they do not have to sustain. And so we're here to fire us up and get out there. But in the end, we remember that there are families out there like that one, unfortunately thousands of them around the country, whose lives and future will depend on the votes that are cast in this election. Whether we move forward or whether we move backwards, whether we elect great candidates like the one standing beside us, or folks that run TV commercials on the air with a lunchbox on a marble countertop, who's never met the guy that owns that lunchbox, right? That's what this election is all about, and I'm going to tell you, I couldn't be more excited than to go into the last 3 days with the people in this room. Let's go out there and win this.